The night my husband's electric car caught fire, I didn't panic. I stood there watching him and his secretary, naked, screaming, banging on the glass for me to save them. Celine, please. I'll change, I swear, he begged. But I only smiled, the flames reflecting in my eyes. For once, I wasn't the one burning. They were. The parking lot was quiet that night, its concrete pillars echoing faintly with my heels. It was close to midnight. Most of the office tower had gone dark, but I had returned for something small, ridiculous even. My wedding album USB, which I'd left in my desk drawer. The presentation team wanted it tomorrow. If I had not come back, I might never have seen it. The acrid stench hit me first. Smoke. Sharp, biting, unnatural in the stale air of the underground lot. I frowned, quickened my pace. Then I saw it. My car. My beautiful brand new electric sedan. The one I had signed for just weeks ago with trembling hands and a mixture of pride and relief. The car Darius had once scoffed at as unnecessary luxury. It was burning. Flames clawed out from beneath the hood, orange tongues licking the blue paint like hungry beasts. Sparks snapped in the dark, casting jagged shadows across the walls. For one frozen moment I thought it was empty. A tragedy of machinery, nothing more. But then I saw movement inside. And my world split open. Through the thick, sooty glass I saw Darius. My husband. His bare chest slick with sweat, his face pale with terror. And beneath him, pressed awkwardly against the seat, was Arya Lynn. His secretary, her blouse half off, her skin flushed, her mouth open in a soundless scream. My stomach lurched, not from the fire but from the sight of them. Of him. Celine. His voice cracked through the glass, muffled but unmistakable. His palms slammed against the window, leaving a smudge of soot. Celine, help me. For God's sake, help me. My feet rooted to the ground. I had always wondered in some secret corner of myself what betrayal would feel like. Would it burn? Would it break me? But here now, with the fire roaring and my husband naked with another woman, I felt nothing but a hollow calm. Arya's eyes locked on mine, wide and glistening. She pressed her hands against the window too, voice muffled but desperate. Sister Celine. Please. I know I was wrong. I'll never dare again. Please save us. I almost laughed at the word sister. The flames flared higher, reflecting in Darius's terrified eyes. He pounded the glass again harder. Don't just stand there. Do something. Open the door. I took a step forward, slowly, deliberately. The heat scorched my skin, making my cheeks prickle. My hand reached out toward the metal, but the instant I touched it, pain shot through my palm. I jerked back. Too hot. Even if I wanted to save them, I couldn't. But the truth was, I didn't want to. Celine. His voice rose, cracking with panic. Listen to me. I know I made mistakes. But this isn't how it's supposed to end. You're my wife. You swore vows. Help me, damn it. My lips curled. Why vows? I whispered, though he couldn't hear. And what about yours, Darius? What about the vows you broke tonight? His face contorted. Don't twist this now. We can talk later. Just open the damn door. I shook my head slowly, savoring the irony. The invisible handles, remember? Your precious modern tech. They lock automatically when the power cuts. He froze, then banged harder, his knuckles bleeding against the glass. No, Celine. Don't you dare leave me here. Arya coughed violently, smoke curling around her. Her mascara streaked black down her cheeks. She pressed her palms together, begging. Sister Celine, I'm sorry. Please, I'll disappear from your lives forever, I promise. Don't let me die here. Please. Her words cracked into sobs. I was wrong, I was stupid. I only wanted a chance, I never meant to take him from you. Please forgive me. I tilted my head, studying her like an insect pinned to glass. Forgive you? Do you forgive the thief who steals your home? Do you forgive the snake that slides into your bed? Her tears mixed with soot, streaking her face into something grotesque. I'll do anything. I'll serve you, I'll never look at him again, I swear. Just pull us out. I smiled faintly. Funny. You wanted to serve him. Now you beg to serve me. What a quick learner you are, Arya. Her sobs broke into choking coughs. Dialogue. Darius is bargaining. Darius slammed his fists again, harder, his chest heaving. Celine. Please. If you get me out, I'll change. I'll give you everything back. I'll live a good life with you, I swear it. Just get me out. I took another step closer, close enough now to see the veins in his temples bulging, the sweat rolling down his burned skin. You'll give me everything back? I said softly, almost to myself. How generous. Returning what was already mine. His mouth opened, ready to argue, but another cough racked his body. He pressed his palm against the glass again, eyes pleading. For 1 second I almost saw the boy I once loved, the man I once believed in. But then he pulled his hand back. As though even in his desperation he couldn't bear the heat. Couldn't bear me. And in that second something inside me hardened. I straightened, pulling my handkerchief from my pocket, dabbing at my face as though the only concern I had was the smoke stinging my eyes. You know, Darius, I murmured, my voice icy calm, for a man who claimed he would protect me forever, you look awfully good at begging someone else to save you. His roar shook the glass. Celine, you'll regret this. Sirens wailed in the distance, red lights flashing against the concrete pillars. Firefighters burst into the lot, hoses unfurling, shouts cutting through the chaos. Water blasted against the flames, steam clouding the air. Darius's voice was swallowed by the noise, his mouth moving desperately against the glass. The firefighters smashed the doors with crowbars, dragging them out at last. And the sight, oh the sight. Darius and Arya, skin blackened, fused together in a grotesque embrace, their bodies half covered, half naked, humiliatingly entangled. The firefighters' gloved hands struggled to separate them, their faces grim. The onlookers gasped. Even the fire chief muttered under his breath, God help them. I stood still, my hands folded before me, my face serene. At my feet lay a pair of lace panties, edges charred, still smoldering faintly. I pressed my heel down on them, grinding them into ash. Then, with a faint smile curving my lips, I followed the ambulance into the night. The ambulance doors slammed shut, and with them the last flicker of dignity left Darius Vaughn. I sat in the waiting area of the hospital emergency wing, the fluorescent lights harsh above me. The air smelled of bleach and burnt flesh, metallic and sour. My hands were folded neatly in my lap, but inside I was buzzing, not with grief but with a strange, cold anticipation. Doctors and nurses moved quickly, their voices overlapping. Words like severe burns, airway compromised, intubate, critical. But one word stuck out like a thorn. Entangled. That was how the triage nurse described them. Not injured, not together. Entangled. I knew exactly what it meant. A curtain swished and a tall doctor emerged, his scrubs stained, his gloves dangling from one hand. His badge read Dr. Zhao, Burns and Trauma. He looked at me with that careful mixture of professionalism and pity that doctors keep in their pockets for the unlucky. Mrs. Vaughn, he asked. I inclined my head. Yes. He exhaled softly. Your husband and his companion have sustained extensive burns. Both are stable for the moment, but there is a complication. I raised my brows politely. Complication. His jaw tightened. They were engaged in intercourse at the time of the fire. Due to the heat and swelling, the burned tissues have fused. They are physically stuck together. I let the words fall between us like ash. My face remained still, but inside something sharp twisted. Amusement, disgust, maybe both. Dr. Zhao cleared his throat. We will need to separate them surgically. If we attempt to pull them apart manually, the tearing would be catastrophic. Infection, hemorrhage, sepsis. Another doctor stepped forward. He was shorter, bespectacled, his badge reading Dr. Srinivasan, Urology. His voice was precise, clinical. To be direct, Mrs. Vaughn, to save both patients, we may need to amputate your husband's penis. The sentence hovered in the sterile air, obscene in its clarity. From behind the curtain came a muffled, hoarse sound. No, no, no. Darius's voice, strangled but desperate. He tried to lift himself, but nurses pressed him down. Don't cut me, he wheezed. Celine, don't let them do this. His eyes rolled toward me, glassy with terror. Celine, please. I'm your husband. Stop them. Save me. For the first time in years he looked at me with true need. Not command, not arrogance, but raw begging. Beside him, Arya whimpered, her voice thin, her lungs wheezing from smoke. She clawed at the air like a child drowning. Miss Vaughn, sister, please. I can't breathe. Please let them do it. Her face crumpled, soot streaked with tears. Cut it off. Please just cut it off and save us. She turned to Darius, her charred lips trembling. Darius, I love you. I'll love you no matter what, I promise. Even without that, I'll serve you forever. Just let them save us. Her words poured out, frantic and humiliating, her voice cracking on the word serve. No. Darius roared hoarsely, choking on his own smoke-filled throat. Celine. Don't let them. I can't. He gagged, coughed, his bandaged arms flailing. His panic was animalistic, primal. Don't cut me, please. Celine, you'll regret this. I'll change, I swear. I'll come back to you, I'll be faithful. Just don't let them do this to me. I stepped closer, just enough for him to see my face clearly. His eyes latched onto mine, desperate, pleading. You always thought of yourself as invincible, Darius, I said softly, my voice calm, almost tender. A king. A conqueror. And now, look at you. Naked, burned, begging. He shook his head violently, eyes wild. Don't do this. Please. You betrayed me, I whispered. You mocked me. You spent our money on her. My gaze flicked to Arya, sobbing at his side. And yet here you are asking me to save you. Why should I? Because I'm your husband, he croaked, voice breaking. A cold smile touched my lips. And what were you to me, Darius, when you were inside her in the back of my car? His mouth opened but no sound came. Dr. Srinivasan cleared his throat gently. Mrs. Vaughn, time is critical. We need your consent. The registrar thrust the tablet into my hands, her stylus trembling slightly. Darius tried to lift himself again, moaning, Celine, no. Don't sign. Don't. Arya cut him off with a sob. Please. If you don't, we'll both die. Please, Mrs. Vaughn, I beg you. I looked at them both. My husband furious and terrified, his mistress pathetic and groveling. And then, slowly, deliberately, I signed my name. Celine Vaughn. The stylus glided across the glass, elegant and smooth. No. Darius's howl rattled the machines. Nurses rushed to sedate him. His eyes burned into me as the needle slid into his vein, his lids drooping. Celine. I'll hate you forever. His words slurred into unconsciousness. The doors swung closed. Hours dragged like years. I sat in the waiting room sipping water, dabbing at my eyes when nurses passed by. To them I was the picture of a grieving wife, shoulders trembling with silent sobs. In reality I was rehearsing the moment he would wake up. What would his face look like when he realized he was no longer a man? When he realized that his empire, his pride, his very body had been stripped away. The thought made my lips twitch upward. Finally the doors opened. Dr. Zhao and Dr. Srinivasan emerged, weary but composed. The separation was successful, Dr. Zhao said. Both patients are stable, but the next 48 hours will be critical. I nodded, my voice soft. And my husband? Dr. Srinivasan adjusted his glasses. We had to perform a partial penectomy to remove necrotic tissue and complete the separation. Future reconstruction may address urination and appearance, but sexual function. He paused delicately. It is gone. I pressed a handkerchief to my lips, my body trembling as though with grief. Oh, my poor husband. But behind the fabric my smile was sharp. Hours later I stood by his bed in the burn ICU. He was wrapped in gauze, tubes snaking into his body, his chest rising and falling under the rhythm of machines. The ventilator hissed, monitors beeped, nurses murmured. Slowly his eyes fluttered open. Bloodshot. Glazed. Confused. He looked at me. Then down at himself. Then back at me. Recognition dawned. Horror followed. His mouth moved, a guttural sound crawling from his throat. You. I leaned close, smiling sweetly. Rest, darling. The doctor saved your life. Isn't that wonderful? His gaze hardened. Tears pooled, rolling down his cheeks. His hands twitched against the restraints. I dabbed his lips with a wet cotton swab, my smile soft. Shoo. Don't strain yourself. After all, you'll need your strength. I leaned closer, whispering just for him. Because tomorrow will be harder. His eyes widened, bloodshot and furious. He tried to roar, but the ventilator hissed louder, swallowing the sound. I smiled at him, calm, cold, victorious. The burn ward had its own smell. Not antiseptic, not smoke, not even death. It was something in between. Like plastic heated too many times, the faint sweetness of decay, a smell that settled in the back of your throat and wouldn't leave. I visited every day, hands folded, face arranged into a picture of devotion. To the nurses I was the grieving wife, clinging to the bedside of a ruined man. To Darius I was the only person left who hadn't abandoned him. But in truth I wasn't clinging. I was dismantling. The first step was his apartment. The one he thought he had hidden, the one he decorated not for me but for Arya. A 150 square meter condo in the city center, with floor-to-ceiling windows, marble countertops, and silk sheets I'd never touched. He had bought it in secret, his name on the deed, her perfume in the drawers. I found the keys in his desk before the fire. That night, while he lay swaddled in gauze, unconscious and groaning through a ventilator, I walked through the condo's glass doors with my marriage certificate in hand. The property manager didn't ask questions. Wives rarely need to explain themselves. The apartment was a shrine to betrayal. Photos of Darius and Arya at restaurants, receipts for jewelry, even a ridiculous his and hers toothbrush set by the sink. I touched nothing except the deed. Sell it, I told the agent I called the next morning. Urgent transfer. This month. He nodded eagerly, easy commission. By the end of the week, the apartment was gone. The profit sat neatly in my account, scrubbed of Arya's cheap perfume. The second step was his company. Darius had always boasted that Vaughn Industries was untouchable, that his position as majority shareholder made him king. But kings fall fastest when their crowns are mortgaged. While he slept, I visited lawyers. With power of attorney in hand, granted so trustingly back when he still believed I was too naive to understand paperwork, I sold his shares to his biggest rival. The ink was barely dry before rumors spread in the business press. Vaughn Industries' golden boy had collapsed, his wife liquidating his empire piece by piece. In his hospital bed, Darius stirred restlessly, perhaps sensing in his drugged dreams that the ground beneath him was crumbling. I adjusted his foreline, smiling softly. "Don't worry, darling. I'm handling everything." Finally his car. Not the burned-out husk in the parking lot. That was ash. But the other one. His black sports coupe, the car he claimed was all business, but which I knew ferried Arya between hotels and boardrooms. I sold it to a dealer within 3 days. He tried to hackle. I didn't. "Take it," I said. "I don't care what it's worth." The sight of it being driven away gave me more relief than any prayer could. When the paperwork was finished, when the accounts fattened, I returned to the burn ward carrying a small velvet box. Darius was awake now, eyes bloodshot, throat ruined by smoke. He couldn't speak properly, just low animal noises, but his eyes said everything. Confusion, rage, fear. "Shoo," I whispered, setting the box gently on the table beside his bed. "I brought you a gift." I opened it with a flourish. Inside gleamed a custom-made device, sleek and clinical, half medical prosthetic, half obscene joke. "It's a charger," I explained sweetly. "Tailored to your body's new condition. Moisture-proof. Adjustable modes. Isn't technology wonderful?" His bandaged body jerked violently, monitors shrieking as he tried to roar through the ruined tunnel of his throat. I leaned closer, my voice dripping with mock concern. "Don't be so emotional. You always wanted the latest gadgets, didn't you?" Tears welled in his eyes, raw and furious. His swollen hand clawed at the sheets, impotent. I smiled at him the way a nurse smiles at a confused child. After all, old things must go before new ones come, right? That night, as the machines hummed and hissed, Darius understood. He was mutilated. His mistress was scarred. His empire was sold. His love nest was gone. His cars, gone. And standing at his bedside was me, Celine, calm and untouchable, the only hand left to feed him water, wipe his lips, sign his papers. I had become the air he breathed and the walls of his prison. His eyes locked on mine, bloodshot and furious. He wanted to kill me. He wanted to beg me. He wanted to disappear. But all he could do was wheeze, a guttural sound that dissolved into coughing. I dabbed his lips with a cotton swab, smiling faintly. "Rest, darling. Tomorrow will be harder." The monitor beeped steadily, keeping time with his helpless rage. The first time Margot Vaughn stormed into the hospital, the burn ward trembled. She was not a frail widow, not a grieving mother. She was a woman whose voice could cut through concrete, whose demands came wrapped in perfume and venom. At 60 she still painted her lips crimson, her hair dyed a shade too dark to be natural. Her heels struck the polished floor like a gavel. When she saw Darius lying in his cocoon of gauze, her shriek rattled the machines. "My son, what have you done to my son, Celine?" I stood quietly by the bed, my hands folded, my face bowed in the posture of a faithful wife. "Margot, he was in the car with Arya." "Don't you dare say her name." Margot spat, stabbing a manicured finger toward me. "If you weren't harassing him every day with your jealousy, he would never have been driven to such desperation." Nurses exchanged uneasy glances, but no one intervened. They had already learned. Von Money was loud, Von Pride louder. Then came her demand. "You will give me 2 million. Immediately." I blinked. 2 million. For family honor. Her bracelets clinked as she threw up her arms. For legal fees, for hush money, for appearances. "Do you want people to gossip that my son was caught like this? Do you want the Vaughn family name dragged through ashes? You will pay me, Celine, and you will pay today." I pressed my handkerchief delicately to my lips, disguising the curve of a smile. "Margot, your son is still alive. Shouldn't we use that money for his treatment?" "He doesn't need treatment, he needs dignity." Her voice cracked like a whip. "And if you think I'll let you waste his money on your schemes, you're mistaken." Her schemes. Her delusion. Her greed. In that moment I saw the truth. Darius had not been born selfish. He had been raised in it, swaddled in entitlement, spoon-fed cruelty. I bowed my head. "Of course, mother. I'll see what I can arrange." It was easier to let her believe I was obedient. For now. Weeks later, Darius was dead. Infection and embolism had claimed what was left of him. I organized the funeral carefully. Simple, solemn, efficient. No grand gestures. He had wasted enough grandeur on Arya. The morning of the 7th day rites, I stood by his coffin, nodding politely as relatives offered hollow condolences. The body inside was wrapped, dressed, perfumed as best the undertakers could manage. But even through the layers, the sour odor of decay clung to the air. And then the doors burst open. Margot arrived, flanked by 4 thugs in leather jackets, their boots scuffing the polished floor. Her eyes were wild, her voice already raised. "Stop this nonsense immediately," she shouted, pointing at the coffin. "This funeral is a sham. My son is not dead." Gasps rippled through the mourners. I froze, then spoke softly. "Margot, he's right here." "Lies," she screeched, marching up to the casket. "He called me before his business trip. He said he was going abroad with Arya. He's sunbathing on a beach right now. This," she slapped the coffin lid with her palm, "is just your trick to steal his fortune." The thugs laughed cruelly. "Yeah, widow. Stop your play acting." I felt dozens of eyes on me. Whispers buzzed like flies. "Widow. Fortune. Please," I said, my voice steady, "let him rest." But Margot would not rest. She shoved the undertaker aside, gripped the coffin with both hands, and with a shocking strength tipped it forward. The body slid out. For one horrifying moment, Darius's corpse lay exposed to all. The yellowed bandages split, leaking foul fluids onto the floor. His face, what was left of it, was mottled, waxy, his jaw frozen in a half-snarl. The smell hit first. Guests reeled, covering their noses. Someone retched. The undertaker stumbled back, hand pressed to his mouth. And Margot screamed. Her son's body thudded onto the marble, a grotesque puppet with strings cut. She staggered back, eyes wide, then turned them on me. "This," she gasped, trembling with rage, "this is your doing. You brought this curse into our family. This is not my son. This is your lie." She was shaking, spit flying as she raged. "Celine, you witch. You liar. You murderer." The room descended into chaos. The thugs shouted. Guests panicked. The smell thickened. And through it all I stood still, hands folded, heart calm. I had not pushed the coffin. I had not unwrapped the corpse. Margot had done that herself. And now, with everyone watching, she had shown them all the monster she was. The air inside the funeral hall was already poisoned by the stench of rotting flesh. Now it was thick with shouting, panic, and Margot Vaughn's hysterical cries. She clawed at the marble floor with her painted nails, as if trying to drag her son's corpse back into life by sheer force. The thugs she had brought closed in, their faces slick with greed. Enough mourning, one sneered, dragging a cable toward the memorial screen on the wall. Time for the truth. Gasps rippled through the guests as the projector flickered. At first, the screen showed Darius's black and white portrait, solemn and dignified. But then the image jumped, colors bleeding in, music blaring. A scandalous video lit up the hall. Margot herself, hair undone, lipstick smeared, clad in a garish silk robe, was gyrating drunkenly in front of a much younger man. Her laugh was shrill, desperate as she pawed at his shoulders. "How's this for you, sweetheart? Don't you love your Margot?" The young man's expression was awkward, caught between amusement and disgust. But the camera caught everything. Her wrinkled hands clutching his waist, her mouth close to his ear, her body pressing against his like an aging parody of desire. The hall erupted. "Oh my God! Is that Darius's mother? How shameful!" No wonder the Vaughn family fell apart. Guests whispered furiously, hands raised to cover mouths. Some turned away from the screen, others stared in horrified fascination. Margot staggered to her feet, her face blotchy with humiliation. "Stop it. Turn it off. Don't look." She lunged at the thugs clawing at the screen. But the video played on, each frame more grotesque than the last. The thugs laughed cruelly. "2 million, Mrs. Vaughn. Pay up or this goes public. Everyone will know what kind of mother raised Darius Vaughn." They turned to me next. "And you, widow, if you don't want to share the shame, you better cooperate. Pay up." I remained still, my hands clasped in front of me. My voice was calm, cutting through the noise like a blade through silk. "No." The thugs froze, incredulous. "What did you say?" I said no. I let my gaze drift across the room, making sure every guest could hear me. "I will not give you a penny. This family has already rotted from the inside. What's one more scandal?" A stunned silence fell for a moment. Then murmurs erupted again, louder than before. Margot shrieked, lunging toward me. "You ungrateful witch. You're destroying us. You killed my son and now you want to ruin me too." Her feet slipped on the fluids leaking from Darius's corpse. She fell to her knees, the stench rising around her as she landed in the mess of pus-soaked bandages. Vomit surged up her throat. She retched violently, spewing across the marble. The image was unforgettable. Margot Vaughn, proud matriarch, kneeling in vomit and decay, sobbing uncontrollably in front of 100 horrified guests. The thugs grabbed her arms, trying to steady her, but by then the sirens had already arrived. Red and blue lights washed across the funeral hall windows. Police stormed in, voices commanding, firm and unyielding. "Drop the equipment. Hands where we can see them." The thugs hesitated, but one wrong move was all it took. Within minutes they were on the ground, wrists cuffed, faces pressed against the cold marble floor. The screen went black. The hall was silent except for Margot's wails. She crouched by Darius's body, rocking back and forth, covered in vomit and tears. "Bison, my son," she moaned, her dignity stripped bare. "How could you leave me like this?" I stood at the altar, the last flame of incense curling in the air. My back was straight, my face composed. For once I felt no need to smile. The silence of the mourners, the stench in the hall, the sight of Margot Vaughn reduced to rubble. These were enough. Darius was gone. His empire was gone. And now the mother who had birthed his cruelty was broken too. But the game wasn't finished. Not yet. 3 months passed after the funeral, yet Margot Vaughn's shadow clung to me like mildew. Her scandal at the funeral had spread across the city. The video, the vomit, the corpse spilled onto marble. People whispered of her downfall, shaking their heads in pity or delight. I thought it would be the end of her. But Margot was a woman too stubborn to rot quietly. One day I received a notice. Visitor request, Municipal Detention Center. I almost laughed. She was still clawing at life even behind bars. Against my better judgment I went. The visiting room smelled of iron and soap. A glass pane separated me from Margot. Her face was swollen, her once black hair now streaked with gray. But her eyes, those sharp, greedy eyes, still burned. She pressed her hands against the glass, smiling in a way that chilled me more than her screams ever had. "Celine," she crooned, "do you know why I asked you here?" I sat down calmly. "I assume it's not to apologize." She ignored the jab, her lips trembling as though she could barely contain the good news. Darius has come back to me. The words hung heavy, absurd. I blinked slowly. Excuse me. Her smile widened, exposing yellowing teeth. I'm pregnant. Actually laughed. A harsh, startled sound that bounced off the glass. Pregnant? At your age. She slapped the glass with her palm. Don't mock me. The doctor confirmed it. 3 months along. Do you know what that means? The exact time since Darius passed. He has returned to me, Celine. This child is Darius reborn. Her conviction was terrifying. She pressed her hands against her belly as though cradling a miracle. This is the Vaughn heir, she whispered fervently. You will sign everything over. The houses, the money, the shares you stole. All of it will belong to my son when he is born again. I leaned forward, my voice like ice. So let me get this straight. You disgraced at your own son's funeral, impregnated by, what? The Holy Spirit. Expect me to believe you carry Darius's reincarnation? Margot's face twisted with rage. Don't you dare speak that way. You think you can erase him, but you can't. He lives in my blood, in this child. And even if you refuse to acknowledge it, the new Darius will grow up hating you for what you did to him. She leaned closer, her breath fogging the glass. One day you'll kneel before me begging for forgiveness. I sat back, studying her like one studies a dangerous animal behind bars. Margot, I said softly, you always had a talent for delusion. But this is your masterpiece. Perhaps you should become a novelist. You'd be a bestseller with fantasies like these. Her hands trembled against the glass. You'll regret mocking me. When the child is born, everyone will see. The Vaughn legacy will continue, and you, her voice cracked into a shriek, you will be nothing but a stain on our name. I let a cold smile curl my lips. Then take good care of your miracle baby, Margot. Raise him well. Raise him to hate me if you must. But remember one thing. I leaned close, my eyes locking onto hers. No matter how many times your son comes back, I will always be here first. His beginning and his end. Margot banged on the glass, her voice raw. Ungrateful witch. Yo me. Yo Darius. You'll never escape us. A guard came, dragging her back. She kicked, screamed, her words echoing down the hallway. Even the new Darius will despise you. You'll see. And then she was gone, swallowed by the gray walls of the detention center. As I stepped back into the sunlight, the absurdity nearly made me laugh again. A pregnant old woman, claiming her unborn child was Darius reborn. And yet, her madness had a kind of venom. In her delusion she was still dangerous. Because a lie, repeated loudly enough, becomes truth in the mouths of gossips. The city loved scandal. They had feasted on the flames of Darius's disgrace, the grotesque spectacle of the funeral, Margot's downfall. And now, what would they do with this new story? I clenched my fist. This war wasn't over. Not even close. The knock on my door came late in the afternoon, a hesitant tapping that barely reached across the quiet of my apartment. For weeks I had grown used to silence. No husband's footsteps, no mother-in-law's shrieks, no secretary's perfume lingering on Darius's suits. Silence had become my ally. So when the sound came, fragile as brittle wood, I almost ignored it. But it came again. When I opened the door, I saw him. Gideon Lin. He was smaller than I remembered from the hospital, where he had hovered nervously in the corridors when Arya was first admitted. Now, bent under the weight of his grief, he looked like a man hollowed out by smoke, his clothes rough and patched, shoes worn to the shape of his bones. In his trembling hands he held a bundle wrapped in faded cloth, homemade preserves perhaps, or some token of rural gratitude. His cloudy eyes lit up when he saw me. Ms. Ward. I found you at last. I did not invite him in. I let the silence stretch until he shifted uncomfortably, bowing his head. Please, he said hoarsely. I need to speak with you. We sat at the edge of the lobby where the afternoon light fell in slanted bars. He clutched the bundle tighter as if it might anchor him. My daughter. Arya. His voice cracked. He coughed, his back bent like a shrimp. She told me once when she was lying in the hospital that she was sorry for you. Sorry for what she had done. She wanted to live, but... His words faltered. But she didn't. You know that. I said nothing. He swallowed hard. We have a younger son. Still in school. Arya worked hard to send him money to keep him studying. She said she would make sure he never had to live like us, never had to crawl in the mud. But now she's gone. His knuckles whitened against the cloth bundle. They told me she had a house, that she and Darius bought it. But when I went, it was gone. Sold. Nothing left. His voice broke entirely and he dropped to his knees before me, the cloth bundle slipping to the floor. Glass jars rolled out, one shattering, sticky fruit preserves oozing across the tile. Please, Ms. Ward. You're kind. I beg you, return the house to us. Let us have something, some place to live, some memory of my daughter that isn't ashes. His forehead touched the floor. I looked down at him, at his shaking shoulders, at the shards of glass glittering in the spreading syrup. For a moment something flickered in me. Pity perhaps, or the ghost of an older self who might have bent down to help. But that self had burned away in the fire with Darius and Arya. Mr. Lin, I said, my voice sharp enough to cut through his sobbing. That house was purchased with my husband's money after we were married. Every penny he spent on your daughter was stolen from me. I am taking back what belongs to me. That includes the house. He lifted his face, eyes bloodshot. But my son, he has no one left. He is smart, talented. He can study, he can go to university, he can... That is not my concern. My tone was flat, merciless. Arya chose her path. She took what wasn't hers and now the cost has been paid. You expect me to reward her betrayal by giving you gifts? No. I owe you nothing. His mouth opened and closed like a fish pulled from water. Still, I was not entirely without amusement. I bent down, retrieved the bundle and pressed a folded piece of paper into his rough hands. This, I said, is the original purchase contract for the electric car. The one your daughter and my husband died in. Perhaps you can use it. Take it to the company. Demand compensation. Threaten them if you must. Life is priceless after all. He stared at the paper, trembling. His lips moved soundlessly, gratitude and confusion warring across his face. I stood. That is all I will give you. Leave. He bowed low, clutching the contract to his chest as if it were scripture, and shuffled away. 5 months passed. One morning, waiting in the departure lounge for a flight, I scrolled through news headlines idly. That's when I saw it. Man arrested after gasoline protest at car company headquarters. The photo showed him, Gideon Lin, wild-eyed, holding a canister of fuel, a lighter clutched in his hand. Police surrounded him, dragging him away as he shouted about justice for his daughter. The article said he had demanded millions, waiving the very contract I had given him, claiming the car company had murdered his child. When they refused, he poured gasoline across the lobby floor and threatened to ignite it. He was arrested for disturbing public order. I closed the article slowly. Around me, travelers bustled, flight announcements droned. Even in death, Arya still reached for me through the hands of her father. Even in ashes, her shadow lingered. For a long moment I stared out at the runway, watching a plane rise into the sky. Darius was gone. Arya was gone. Yet their families still clung to me, begging, accusing, threatening. It was as though the dead had left chains behind, and the living were determined to fasten them around my neck. I clenched my fist. No. I would not wear their chains. I had cut myself free once. I would do it again and again, no matter how many ghosts rose to stop me. The urn was heavier than I expected. Not because of its size, but because of what it contained. A man's entire existence reduced to gray powder and bone fragments, sealed behind polished bronze. The same hands that had once signed contracts, cupped my face in rare moments of affection, and later struck me with betrayal, now ash between my palms. I stood alone at the sea bridge, wind tearing at my hair, the smell of salt sharp in my nose. The tide below rolled endlessly, waves curling white against jagged rocks. I unscrewed the lid. The first scatter was hesitant, a cautious arc of gray caught by the wind. Then more and more until the air was thick with swirling ash. The sea breeze lifted him, carried him, broke him into nothing. Tornadoes of dust shimmered briefly before dissolving into the vast blue. Dust to dust. Ashes to ashes. My throat tightened, not with grief but with something more complicated. 8 years. That was how long I had lived in his shadow. 8 years of building, sacrificing, waiting for promises that turned to smoke. And here in this moment all of it literally became smoke. Darius Vaughn, I whispered, my voice flat. If there is an afterlife, let's not meet again. A final handful of ash clung stubbornly to my fingertips, gritty and warm from the sun. I brushed it off, watching it fall into the waves below. My skin burned faintly where it had touched, as if even in death he wanted to leave a scar. I snapped the lid shut on the now empty urn and turned my back to the sea. At the airport, the world moved on as if nothing had happened. Travelers wheeled suitcases, children cried, businessmen argued into phones. My black coat and solemn expression made me invisible among them. The departure lounge was a liminal space, neither here nor there. I sat with my boarding pass tucked into my book, waiting for my number to be called. For the first time in months, the silence in my head felt like possibility, not punishment. And then my phone rang. The name on the screen made me laugh bitterly. Margot Vaughn. Of course. I answered, pressing the phone lazily to my ear. Celine, Margot's voice rasped, yet it carried a strange, triumphant lilt. Guess what? I gave birth. I said nothing. It's a girl, she continued breathlessly as if unveiling a miracle. But don't be sad. This is still Darius. He's returned to me, reborn as my daughter. I nearly choked on my own laughter. Darius? Reborn as your child? Margot, are you out of your mind? She ignored me, cooing into the receiver as though cradling the infant. She has his eyes, I'm sure of it. His spirit. His blood. You can't deny it, Celine. Theo is back. This is fate. You can't escape him. You can help raise her, continue what you failed before. My lips curled. Raise her? What exactly do you expect me to do? Call her my husband? Buy her engagement gifts? Or should I wait 18 years and remarry her when she's grown? Margot hissed. Don't you dare mock this. If you reject her, the new Darius will hate you too. You'll be alone forever, despised even by his soul reborn. Margot, I said sweetly, venom under my tongue, you should be congratulated. You've finally outdone yourself. You've gone from greedy matriarch to delusional prophet. Tell me, do they give awards for such creativity in the detention center? Her breathing quickened. You'll regret this. The Vaughn line will rise again and you'll... I hung up. The flight attendant announced boarding. Passengers shuffled forward, tickets in hand. I rose, pulling my coat tighter, and slipped the phone from my pocket. For a moment I stared at the device. Margot's voice still echoed faintly in my ears, shrill and desperate, like claws scratching at metal. Then calmly I slid the SIM card out, placed it between my fingers and snapped it clean in two. The sharp crack was strangely satisfying. I dropped the pieces into the trash bin by the gate and walked forward without looking back. The plane lifted into the sky, engines roaring. Through the oval window, the horizon stretched wide, streaks of pink and gold spilling across the dawn. The sun rose slowly, gilding the clouds, painting the world in fire. For the first time in years I felt the heat of that fire and did not flinch. Darius was gone. Arya was gone. Margot was left clinging to delusions. And I was free. Not cleansed, not innocent, not healed. But free. The sunrise was merciless in its beauty. A reminder that the world kept turning whether or not we survived the night. I leaned my forehead against the glass, a faint smile playing on my lips. This damn sunrise, I whispered. It's so beautiful. The end.